Hello, All-Star clients, and welcome to another episode of the Veterinary Roundtable presented by All-Star Veterinary Clinic, the podcast where we answer your veterinary-related questions while also having some fun along the way. On today's episode, we have myself, co-host and person of many hats, Becca Miller, one of the most bomb room assistants, Abby DePew,
Peace.
one of our lovely administrators, Sam Cercio, and my interim co-host for this week, Dr. Kristen Pulse.
Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Great.
Fantastic.
Harrison was spinning in circles in his chair prior to this, so I think that
It was a little distracting. That's our problem. That's what it is.
Right.
So you guys get Dr. Pulse and I as your host today because Dr. King is on vacation. She ran away for the week and is enjoying some fun in the sun.
Oh, Florida. She might be as tan as you. Probably tanner.
Knowing her, she tans so quickly.
Yeah. Florida raised.
Yeah.
So I heard warm weather isn't as nice as you imagined this time of year. It's a little on the hot side.
Yeah. And sweaty and humid and disgusting. And there were spider monkeys.
Like, why shower?
Oh,
kind of situation. Yeah.
Just get in the pool.
Excellent.
What's the point?
Excellent. Well, I hope Dr. King is having a great time. If you're listening, we miss you.
Yes, we miss you. Have fun. Enjoy it while you're gone. And then Dr. Duckwell just needed to go do some stuff with the horse.
I know. Horses are needy, apparently.
Yeah.
And lots of TLC.
Yeah. I don't
heard
have one.
You don't have one?
No,
You
not
have
yet.
a cat. That's close.
It's about the size of a horse. Yeah.
Like all those animals, they're just needy and it's fine. That's why we love them, I guess.
And then today we are wanted to bring up that we are also celebrating our client service team, which is why Sam is here. She's walked many roles throughout the clinic, serving clients from greeter to rooms to phones to all of it.
A little bit of
A little
everything.
bit of everything. Yes, it's definitely a thankless job at times, but one we couldn't live without.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You welcome.
Yes, you and all of those ladies over in pharmacy, the phones, reception, greeting, all of you guys are fantastic. So we appreciate you helping us out and definitely showing all the love you can to all the clients all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime. I'll be here all week.
Except Saturday and Sunday.
Except Saturday and Sunday.
Well, we have some icebreakers, and the first one is, what is your caffeinated beverage of choice?
Me first.
Go for it.
I usually get a hot or iced, just try to combine both words, caramel
Iced.
macchiato. Dunkin'
Good choice.
or
Wow.
Starbucks. But I get more if I go to Dunkin'.
Did you know that the Starbucks macchiatos aren't real macchiatos?
Yes, I just realized
Did
that
you
a
learn
couple-
this when you tried to go to a different coffee shop and order a macchiato? That's how I learned it.
Well, I learned when I was on my pre-vacay diet, I was like, "Oh, can I have a caramel macchiato with like a sugar-free caramel syrup?" And she was like, "Oh, well, actually, it's the vanilla blah blah blah, and we just put caramel on the top." And I was like,
Yeah, I don't really know
"That's
the
baloney. Go ahead and give me the sugar-free vanilla for my caramel macchiato."
Yeah, they just kind of skirt their way around and like, how can I be sneaky about it a little bit? But it still tastes good, so we're still going to do it. That's the problem.
Nah.
Yeah, I still
Was
don't know
kind
what a
of
real
disappointed.
macchiato is, but what Starbucks does isn't the true version, but it's delicious. I'm with you. Okay, Abby, what's yours?
Anything that's caffeinated, really. More caffeine, the better, baby.
Amen.
We just need to start a list over on Fast Island of which caffeinated beverages does Abby bring in the morning?
It's
a
a
different
lot.
one every day.
Wow, what do you get?
Coffee, and then I have my afternoon delight of a energy drink. Didn't want to admit that, but so yeah, feel pretty good.
Sleep at night?
Yeah, sometimes.
Excellent. Becca, what's yours?
Typically, my go-to is a Diet Coke. Now, I'll drink coffee and things like that. Or Abby, I blame her for this one, started me on the coffee shop Big B's. They have a
Big
Red Bull
B's.
refresher. And I'm like, some Red Bull with some extra like raspberry type stuff in it.
Yes,
It's
please.
real dangerous.
Oh my gosh. And then you have heart palpitations the rest of the day.
It's what makes you feel alive.
It is. Yeah, that's what keeps me going.
I had heart palpitations one time after having like 4 cups of coffee in one day, and I was like, this is a little scary. I don't think I'm going to do this ever again.
I think that's wise. I appreciate learning from the experience versus
Amber came around the corner the other day.
caffeine
And
addict over here.
oh, yeah. Amber came around the corner. I'm drinking the refresher. And she was like, really? It's like 10 a.m. And I was like, and I forgot to eat breakfast and lunch. So we're just going with it. And she was like, you've got to be kidding me. Caffeine is what keeps us running. So, KP, what's your favorite?
I would say espresso drinks, just a plain old latte is what I'd stick with. Yeah.
We've got a nice little coffee bar too.
Me too.
Yeah,
We don't need to talk about it. We can move right along. Yes, maybe a little too much.
Okay, is it too much really a thing, though?
Yeah, I feel better about like not drinking at Red Bull caffeine.
Yeah, no, that's definitely.
I don't feel good about it when I do it.
Yeah, I will admit, I had one this morning, didn't feel great about it. I mean, I felt great afterwards because, nice and awake. But while you're drinking it, you're just like, I know this isn't the best for me.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, love it. Fueled by coffee, it sounds like, for the ladies in this room.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So then our next one is, what is your cell phone wallpaper? So, Abby?
Mushrooms. I went on a hike and it looked cool, so
That is
that's
a cool
what it is.
photo.
At least one time she saw my phone, she's like, is that bark? I'm like, no, it's mushrooms. That's what I got.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah, it's very artistic.
Let's see.
You want to see it?
Yeah, I do. I'm a visual learner.
Which pocket did I put my phone in? Well, my front is the moon.
Oh, yeah, you have like
Did not
14
take-
screens.
I don't have 14 screens.
It's
And
only 2. The
then
second one's just huge.
My lock screen is the lagoon I took in Mexico. Supposed
really
to be
beautiful.
the secret lagoon, but everybody was at the lagoon, so I don't think it's a
Doesn't
secret
seem
lagoon
so
anymore.
secret. It looks beautiful.
And my background is Wilson and his swim trunks.
Oh, look at him.
Were those made for him? He's in swim trunks?
I bought them on Amazon.
That's amazing.
He goes to the pool a lot
Fantastic.
during the summer, so.
What about you?
So I have 2 as well. The first one, so like the actual, I'm going to close everything so you can see it, is actually the Disney. Like I went to Disney and I have the picture of it covered in Christmas lights.
Wow.
And then the actual background is the picture of Sirius the first time he came to All Star to see KP.
It's a baby.
Yes, baby
baby
Sirius
Sirius.
at his first visit with you.
Oh my gosh, he's so fluffy, so fuzzy.
He is, I know. And I'm like, you look at him now and I'm like, you're such a grown man and I don't know what happened. Like, he's handsome, but I miss tiny baby Sirius sometimes.
Yeah, but not the potty training, right?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
That was a little rough, but we got through it. We made it through, but it definitely took some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't miss potty training, baby Wilson. That was hard.
Yeah, that's why God made him cute.
That's why God
They
made
trick
him
you into
cute.
keeping almonds.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my!
Mine is me and my spousal unit.
Spousal unit.
I love
Yay.
Yay!
And then the other one is aspen trees. It's favorite. I don't know how to like actually pull it up. But this is the hike that we went on.
I like that one.
Oh, wait. I have
just
2
make-
wallpapers. Oh, second one's plants.
Should have guessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised, but like in the best way.
Mm-hmm.
I purposely made my own page without apps on it so I can be like, look at my background.
I mean, I did that, but it wasn't intentionally. It just happened to be when I deleted a bunch of stuff, it left one page that had nothing on it, and I don't know how to get rid of it now.
Oh,
So I just leave it. And when
definitely
somebody's
service.
like, oh, what did he look like as a baby? I'm like,
Boom.
just
I
swipe,
got
swipe. There it is.
I definitely did it on purpose.
You're armed and ready. True
I'm
mom
like,
style.
yeah, totally intentional on that. Like, dog mom life over here. Not at all.
Well, I think next up is to share an interesting case you've recently encountered. Why did you pick it? Was it solved, not solved? The outcome?
I don't have one.
You don't have one? I guess,
Sam.
right, being in client services, right, sees many. Okay, I can share one, give you guys some time to think about it. I guess I have two. So the first one is a kitty named Melvin, 2-year-old handsome boy, whose owner saw him vomiting, woke up to him vomiting like a hoodie drawstring at like 2 a.m. Tried to help pull it. She saw this string hanging out of his mouth. She tried to like help pull it. Fortunately, she stopped because that can be pretty bad if it's trapped on something. You can cut through the esophagus and the intestines by pulling it. So she stopped. He swallowed it back down, kept vomiting. She brought him in and we tried to scope it out. Got a piece of it, but same thing. It was stuck on something. So we ended up having to do an exploratory surgery. And at one point, this poor kitty had the string hanging out of its mouth, in the stomach, in the intestines of my incision.
Oh my
It was probably like 12 inches long. It's a pretty good size string for this poor guy. Right. Make good choices. You wonder what happens. Like, do they just like not know how to spit it out? So they're like, well, I'll just keep eating it.
Well, I'm already invested. Might as well finish the job.
I definitely have those moments where I'm like, what about these things make them seem really tasty to a cat or a dog?
Yeah.
I look at those and go, yep, that's totally inedible. But for them, they're like, oh, let's give it a try.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe someday we'll find out.
Eek. What's your second one? You said you had two?
Well, we can come back around to it. Did you guys actually think at all about case it options?
I have one.
Okay,
well, it's
go
not
for
really interesting. Well, it is interesting, but Joey, who we just recently saw, heartworm positive dog. He's only just a year, over a year old. And that was like the second heartworm positive dog I've seen just this year. It's been crazy. I think it's an interesting story of just how preventatives work and things like that, because they thought this dog was healthy. I mean, and we just did an annual heartworm test and it came back positive.
Right.
So it's just interesting the treatment that goes into that.
Right. And this poor family, they have had Joey for like 2 months. And so with the life cycle of heartworm disease, he was bit by a positive mosquito at least 6 months for us to find a positive on the test. So he had it before they got him, but he's a good family who's treating him and looking him through it. But
shout out to Joey.
Yeah, I know. He's so sweet.
Treatment will be good and you'll feel better afterwards. But
yeah, it's not a fun treatment. Much prefer to prevent it.
Yes, prevention
for sure. And I feel like our cases, like our heartworm cases, like come in waves. Like we'll go a really long time without having any, and then all of a sudden we have like 3 or 4 in a couple of months, and it's crazy because it is so preventable, but yet it's literally floating around in the mosquitoes, and like who's to say that we haven't gotten bitten by that mosquito before it bites your dog and gives your dog heartworm.
Yeah, I prefer to not think about parasites.
Or ticks or
yeah. Ugh.
So I think the case that I have, Dr. Faust and I a couple weeks ago saw this cat came in. He was just not feeling well, not feeling great at all. So we do what we normally do. Dr. Faust is doing her exam on this cat, and she calls me and she goes, hey, can you just hold on to the cat while I take a temperature? It's easier that way. We make us the bad guys. The client doesn't have to be. So I'm just kind of petting the cat, and I notice, because they like their faces rubbed, so I'm rubbing his face, and I realize there's a lump underneath the jaw that just doesn't feel equal. So while she's doing that, I'm kind of rubbing on both sides, keeping an eye out, trying to see. So after we leave the room, I mentioned it to her. I said, hey, there's this spot. I don't know if you felt it. It just didn't feel right to me. So we went in later and looked at it. I come in the next morning because we hospitalized overnight. Cat was just not doing great. So we hospitalized, kept fluids and everything else. I come in the next morning. She goes, we're going to block out part of the schedule because we're actually going to sedate and like lance and take stuff out of that. And I was like, wait, what did we find? She goes, you found an abscess right there in that spot.
Gosh.
And I was like, are you serious? She goes, yeah. She's like, you found the abscess and the infection. So they did. They sedated the cat. They got it cut open, managed to drain a whole bunch of stuff out of there. Cat's doing great now, but it was one of those just being at a different angle and, petting the cat the way that I had, we found that abscess that was small enough that it was hard to feel originally until you hit it at just the right spot. And it was like, that was a pretty awesome kind of win for me of like, oh, I did it. Like,
That's
I didn't
amazing.
know.
Yeah. And it's, just the way you handled it and like pointing it out. And
I feel like it's important that when you do feel something that doesn't feel right, whether it's us feeling it or a client feeling it, you're going to know the pet better than we do. So if you feel something that you're like, oh, this lump feels different, it feels new, we would much rather check it out because it could be something. I mean, like I said, we drained it, we treated it with antibiotics. Cat's doing great now, but it was something that if we hadn't done it at just the right angle and found it, it could have been a lot harder to figure out what was going on with that patient.
Right. Or you do your treatments and he doesn't respond because it's festering and lingering. That's awesome. Yeah. That's a great story. I love it. Good job.
I was a little proud. I was like, I did it. Like, it's one of those, it's always great when you realize that, we learn a lot of stuff watching you guys and what you're doing. And so when I can put some of that stuff that I've learned from watching all of you into action and actually find something, it's like, I feel great. Like, I helped somebody and I helped, a patient get better. And it's one of those, like, it's just that moment of, I'm glad I could help.
That you're making a huge difference in animals and people's lives, and it's a team. Like, that's awesome. That was so cool. What a win. Thanks for sharing. Sam, have you tried to think of anything? Have you got anything? Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I was just thinking, so my last one was talking about my aunt's dog, Tucker, and all of his stuff. Well, then I thought about Wilson and his weird vomiting, fevery thing. Last spring, I think? I don't remember, but he never vomits. So when we were outside, playing in the backyard and he just stops and vomits and it's food in his green beans. I'm like, okay, well, that's weird. So then he drinks some water and then does it again. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take you in because this is weird. Acting normal, eating, drinking, going potty, everything's normal except for this vomiting. So I bring him in, you look at him, you're like, okay, let's just, I don't even remember what we did. I think Serenian.
Anti-nausea.
Like low-fat canned food. He loved that. Got him back on normal food again. He's totally fine, acting fine, doing everything normally, but then he vomits again. Like, okay, what the heck? I think I don't remember what I was doing. I was either in pharmacy or something, and I had Jones look at him that day, and she was like, well, let's take his temperature. And he was like 104.5. And she was like, I don't think that's right. Let me get a new thermometer. And she's like, no, you're really hot, buddy. And I was like, but why do you have a fever? You're acting totally fine. And because like when we took his temp, it was like 102 something, which isn't abnormal when they're here and they're a little stressed out. So when she was like, oh yeah, it's like 104.5, I was like, oh great. And then her next question is he up to date on his flea and tick prevention? Because I'm worried about like
tick-borne.
Tick-borne illnesses. And I'm like, there's like 10 people around. I'm like, okay, keep it together. You don't need to cry at work. Keep it together. I was like, no, he's been taking everything thanks to Carol. She's really good at remembering to give my dog prevention.
Shout out. Thanks, Carol.
Good job.
So I knew it wasn't that. He's on ProHeart, so I definitely was not worried about heartworm. So I was like, just do all the blood work. I don't care. We'll send labs out. We'll do in-house labs. Like, we'll do a heartworm test, like everything. In-house labs come back normal. Send out labs come back normal. We put him on IV fluids all day. He's back to normal. Hasn't thrown up since. And Dr. Jones was like, oh, he just must have had a fever of unknown origin. I was like, I don't like that.
That is not the answer I want.
No.
Welcome to medicine.
Yeah, yay.
Just come up with fancy ways of saying we don't know. We don't know, but I think I can fix it.
Yeah, so I switched him. Oh, that's when I switched him to frozen peas instead of the green beans, and he's been fine since. But
he was just a little dramatic. He wanted some peas.
Yes. I don't know.
Yeah, it's unsettling when you have something like that, though.
Oh, yeah. Then, like, a couple days later, he was, like, standing over me, and I was like, "You feel really warm." I was
fever
like,
of unknown origin.
Yeah,
Where is it?
Did you come back? And I was like, "Mom, I know we only have one thermometer, but can I use it?"
Make sure you mark that very clearly.
Right. This one is now officially
She
a
was
dog
like,
thermometer. We'll get a
"Yeah,
new
that's
one."
fine." So I was like, "Okay, it's normal. I just wasted our only thermometer for no reason, but it's fine."
I feel like it went to a good cause. It's fine.
Oh,
Just,
yeah.
Make sure you Sharpie on that one.
Yeah, I
Enough
felt
four-legged friends. It's
Oh,
worth
yeah.
having a pet thermometer.
Yeah, he was not very excited about me. I think he had an idea. Like, as soon as I lifted up his tail, he was like, "Please don't." But he was fine.
Wilson.
So,
Poor
no.
buddy.
Poor Wilson.
Okay. I think those are some good cases.
Yeah.
I like it. So the first client question that we have is, do you plan to have Saturday hours in the future? From Tammy Hilfiger.
Who's in charge?
That's
So,
a good question.
As of right now, the answer is no. It would be something that I think to be able to put into practice here would be difficult to kind of rearrange everybody's schedules and things like that. And I know that it definitely would be helpful to some of our clients who trying to get in during their workday is really difficult. But it is something that I just don't think is feasible at this time to do with our practice.
Yeah. Yeah, I would echo that. We don't have the authority to make the decision. I do know it's difficult with normal work days and schedule. And so we do try to accommodate with drop-off appointments of leaving pets here for a certain period of time. We do the best that we can and try to be really good about same day when people call and need to be seen, just because pets don't give us the benefit of advance notice often. But as of right now, probably not.
So then our next one is, I have a male cat that keeps getting crystals in his urine, so he pees out of his litter box. Can we fix that? He's a lovable sweetheart. And it's from Lorry Gilliam. I hope I said that right. Sorry if I didn't.
Poor male kitties.
I know.
How do cats develop crystals, I guess, is a good...
Yeah, so the body can make crystals just with different urine pH and if the urine is really concentrated. Those are the two reasons that we see it. There is a type of crystal that develops, two types of crystals that develop if there's an abnormality in their metabolism. So if there's excessively high circulating calcium or if there is an issue with the liver, we can see different types of crystals eventually go into forming stones that can cause more problems.
Yes, they can.
Yeah. Yeah. So the interesting thing with crystals is that they're not always the problem is crystals. They can be a sign of hyperconcentrated urine or urine abnormal pH. But one of the things that we see that's an interesting condition is feline idiopathic cystitis or feline lower urinary tract disease. Do any of you feel familiar enough to kind of explain what that is?
No.
Hard
But I've heard
I
it a
can
lot.
explain the urinary tract and UTIs, but when you go more into that, probably not
See,
as
and
much.
I don't even know that I've heard. I don't know that I've heard either of those terms, to be quite honest. Just because now that I'm really not doing rooms as much as I was,
Right.
or and I
There's
don't remember
not
a
as
case
much.
really. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different reasons for kitties to pee outside their box, but one of the interesting conditions that cats can get is, and it has 100 different names because we don't know very much about it. It's Pandora syndrome, lower urinary tract disease. But there can be a sterile inflammation of the bladder. So it feels like a UTI. It's kind of uncomfortable for cats to pee, but it's sterile. The other thing that's interesting is that it is more behavioral. So for some reason, we think there's a pathway between anxiety and the sterile inflammation. So there's a true physiologic problem that it's painful to pee. So kitties will often avoid the litter box. But it does start with maybe more of an anxiety problem. And we don't know what happens in the interim or in between. But we can see kitties having just uncomfortable urination for maybe 7 days where they'll pee outside the box and then it'll kind of wax and wane and go back to normal. So sometimes we can find a trigger for it, like moving furniture, or having company over, or changing things around. So that's just, those are a couple examples. But Stressors. I know. The life of cats, it's not that hard. I really don't think they have it tough.
You're right. I'd be a cat.
I know. It seems like a pretty good gig. So that's just one of the things that comes to mind as far as crystals, especially if it's intermittent. And then there's some things that could be more behavioral of just kitty preferences in terms of litter box and that kind of thing.
I know one of the first things we always ask when we do have a cat that's, going outside of the litter box is, how many litter boxes do you have? How often are you cleaning them? What kind of litter is it? And I know it seems really weird when we're in rooms asking that, but part of that is I can look at past notes and say, oh, it looks like you've gotten rid of some litter boxes, or maybe you've changed the kind of litter because last time it was clumping versus now it's non. And so sometimes that will change because it can be behavioral in that sense. And I know that the recommendation last I'd heard was the number of cats you have plus one is what we recommend. So sometimes it's I have 2 cats, but I only have 1 litter box. Well, then the recommendation would be for you to have 3, and it gives them a few more options. And sometimes just adding in that extra litter box can help solve some of those problems when it comes to that. So I know it seems really weird when we're coming in and we're asking you about what are all the litter box
bathroom habits, toilet issues?
Yeah, what's going on there? And that's why, because sometimes you have those little changes of, I put a cover on the box now. Well, they really don't like that, so now that needs to come off. So keeping track of all of that can sometimes help pin down what might have been just something subtle that you didn't think about that is the reason that they're doing it.
Right, for these finicky felines and their toilet preferences. And there's litter box bullying. Did you guys know that cats will guard the litter box? And
no. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they know which ones are theirs and which ones.
Not shocking. I mean, they're cats.
Do you do that? Is that why you understand?
Bully people in the bathroom?
Abby's like, this is mine, get out.
That's a hard no.
Nope.
I'm just asking you.
I know.
You were acting like you totally understood.
You're like, yes.
Because she understands cats.
I get cats.
She's a cat person. She knows.
I'm weird.
Now, I know with urinary issues, one of the things we can do is add in the diet. So like the one that we carry is the Hill CD. Does that treat the crystals as much, or is that more of when it comes to stones and things like that?
Yeah, it can actually help with the crystals too. So the food, there's different prescription foods that do promote kitties to drink more water, and then it can adjust the urine pH so they're less likely to have crystals. So that is absolutely a good spot or a good way to go if kitties are struggling with it. And it does help change those things that we think crystals can calcify and form stones down the line. So it can help prevent both.
Yeah.
So yes, both is the answer. Good question.
I don't know. Do we have anything else for them when it comes to that you can think of?
For the lovable, sweet kitty. I don't know.
Yeah, I think just kitty husbandry, which is an ever-changing. We've grown a lot in it, but we're still figuring out kitties. They're definitely not small dogs, and they do need quite a bit of environmental stimulation and things to help make them happy. That they are hunters and they like to be busy.
They hide things so well, too. They are some of the hardest ones when you are trying to find out what's wrong with them because, dogs make it pretty easy. You can tell when they're super lethargic, whereas cats, it's a little bit harder. So sometimes trying to narrow down what's happening can be a little bit more of a difficult job with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I poked her. I scared her.
Oh, she tickled me with the stick. It's not even a stick. It's a
A
sign.
goal without a plan is just a wish.
Yeah, in case you guys didn't know that.
I like that.
It's a good saying.
That is a good saying.
I don't even know where you found that.
Okay, well, I think that's all we have for questions tonight. Have you guys heard any other good sayings recently? Could be our outro.
What Becca said, if you feel something, say something about your abscess that you found.
Yeah, if you feel something, say something. Let us know.
Feel something, say something. See something, say something. What about you, Sam?
I'm still on vacation brain. I'm really surprised I even remembered how to get here this week.
What was that you said on Monday? I'm sorry, I don't live here anymore.
Yeah, I went the wrong way taking my mom to Culver's for Mother's Day. And she was like, why'd you go this way? And I was like, I don't live here anymore. I don't remember how to get to Culver's anymore.
Love it. It is hard to transition.
Because I just
from
walked
vacation.
everywhere. It was an all-inclusive resort, so I just walked everywhere. Or we took the speedy golf cart, like to dinner in the evenings.
Yeah.
So I know.
So
I'm surprised I even
convenient.
remembered how to drive my car when we got home.
I do have some concerns. I'm going to wait a few more minutes after you leave tonight to hit the road.
She's on a bicycle.
Oh, yeah. She's like, we're going to make sure everybody's gone first.
Understood.
Well, I was going to say, so in that case, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Veterinary Roundtable. Remember, send in those questions and be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at All Star Veterinary Clinic. If you enjoyed this episode or previous one, leave us a review on your podcast provider of choice. We'll see you in a few weeks for the next Veterinary Roundtable.
We out.
Bye.
Peace.